Hi guys, today we're going to be doing another episode of Dreadnought. This episode's going to be a follow-up to the What is Dreadnought video and something that's going to help you guys maybe get started. Veteran players probably need to go ahead and click away now. This isn't going to be any kind of new information for you, but for you new guys, this is for you. So we went over a lot of what Dreadnought is and not a whole bunch of how to play Dreadnought. And I want to go ahead and do that. So I've started us out with the ships that you're going to start with, minus the Dover over here, of course. So you're going to start out with the Rurik, which is an artillery cruiser, the Cerberus, which is a tactical cruiser, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but the Dreadnought, Tier 1 Dreadnought, and the Augusta. I'll go ahead and show you the manufacturer trees over here in Tech Trees. So things you're going to want to be looking for. So my personal suggestion to everyone out there starting Dreadnought, first time you get in there, go ahead and fill out that bar down at the bottom of your screen. So we're going to start out by adding ships to our fleet. When you first start out, not everything's going to be in your bar down here at the bottom in your recruit fleet, where the ships in your fleet are going to sit. So to add a ship, you just hit the plus right there. You select the ship that you want to add in, and in she goes. Whichever ship is the first one that you add to your list is going to be your flagship, the one that it's going to default you into. So if you don't hit start, well, select a ship and hit start, that's what you're going to go out in. So let's go ahead and fill out this bar. So to remove a ship from your fleet, you just right click it and remove from fleet. It's that simple. And I meant to add the Cerberus, the tier 1 healer. So you've got your bar filled out. Let's take a look at the tech tree. Over here on Jupiter Arms, you start out with the Augusta, and then you have the opportunities to go into the Trafalgar and the Dover. Take a look at this list. Your tier 5 ships are going to be the things that you're striving for, but don't forget the grind in between. The grind in between's got to be fun. So, like I said before, play in every ship that you've got to see what style of gameplay you like to do. So if you like to, say, be that middle-of-the-road ship that gets in there relatively quick, deals a lot of damage, you're going to want something like the Augusta, the Destroyer. The Rurik, I'm going to use the term glass cannon. That's what it is. It is a artillery cruiser. It's very similar to a sniper. They've got tools to help you stay hidden, to get out of the way of shots, and they deal a lot of damage, but relatively slowly. The quote-unquote bullets have quite a bit of travel time, so you're going to have to lead your targets most of the time. It's nice to punish folks that like to camp out in one spot. Your Dreadnoughts, those are going to be your heaviest ships. They're going to be able to take the most punishment and deal the most punishment, but they're going to be slow as Christmas. I personally like playing Dreadnoughts, not quite as much as I do the Destroyers, but I do like Dreadnoughts. They're a massively useful tool. Even though playing a Destroyer is fun, if I see only one or no Dreadnoughts on my team, I will switch to a Dreadnought, because you need something to go out there and distract and soak up those bullets. They are your tank. Your Corvettes, they are fast. They are the fastest ships in the game. They like to get behind enemy lines and take out the support. If you do decide to go for a Corvette, which I highly suggest you get into the Dover, it's in a sweet spot. No matter what you like out of the other types of ships, try a Corvette. They're good at taking out healers, and they're good at taking out artillery. If you've got too much artillery on the other side or too many healers on the other side, your team is never going to make any headway. So having a Corvette on your team is a massive asset. Speaking of healers and taking them out, you want to have at least one healer per team. So healing wasn't really my thing when I first started out, but every time I would go into battle, I'd realize there really weren't any healers. I would go out in a healer so that we'd have that support. You had to have it. I would suggest giving it a try. don't get trapped into it if you don't like it. Back onto the tech trees. So you've got the Jupiter arms. They've got probably the best Dreadnought in the game so far. There's nothing in here that I wouldn't really want to fly. Personally, I don't care for artillery cruisers, so I'm probably not going to be playing those guys. But that's not to say that's not something that you like. And in this line, I mean, you've got some pretty good artillery cruisers, so they may be worth your time checking out. The Akula Vector. So you can see that I've done a decent amount of research into here. I was going to the Dola because the blood is really good, and the Koshi is really good. I've heard some good things about their artillery cruisers, but like I said, that's not really my thing. They're top tier dreadnoughts. The Zemi, I don't see a whole bunch of people flying that. I don't really know why, but it seems to be less than preferred. It's your medium dreadnought line, so it's not really good at anything. It's just middle of the road. The Jupiter arms have got the heavy, and the Oberon, House Oberon, as your light dreadnoughts. And I'm kind of using the dreadnoughts as your baseline for judging, because it changes based on which manufacturer you go with, and everything else changes as well. You're going to have to do a lot of research on your own, and I'm not going to go too in depth on that in this video. Ships of note in House Oberon are going to be your Invictus, their dreadnought. It's a light dreadnought, so it's faster than the other dreadnoughts at that tier. Playing the Gravis, I really like that line. I like being able to move, and I like being able to deal the damage that it deals. I'm also going down the healer line, and down that healer line, they've been doing really good. I'm not into combat healers. I'm into straight just heal my team, keep them alive healers. And this is the line to take to do that. Hopefully that'll give you a little bit of insight onto which tech tree you want to go down. But it's really going to take a lot of you playing each type of ship and then looking at the tech tree to figure out which kind of ship that you really want to pursue. And then researching the higher tiers of that type of ship. So, moving on. Some of the other things that you need to know. I went over a brief look at what the elements at the top of your screen do, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do that again for you. The hangar is what you see here. If you get too deep into a ship tree or whatever and you don't want to hit the back button up at the top left too many times, you can just slap that hangar button and you'll go right back to the hangar. We already looked at the tech trees and the market. The market I don't think has gotten its new UI pass just yet, and I don't spend much time here, but it's where you spend your GP if you bought GP. The dashboard, it's just a slightly different version of the market from what I can tell. I don't spend much time here, and I only click here to show other people what it looks like. So back to that hangar. So up at the top, you've got your character customization. So if there was something you didn't like about your character, or you didn't really think it through when you built one in the very beginning, this is where you go to change it. Let's see your contracts. These are the revolving rewards for completing objectives in games. Most of the time, I completely passively. I don't actively go out to get these credits. I find that most of the time I earn them whether I'm going for them or not, because they just promote good strategies to win. They're also not all that rewarding for a higher tier player. They don't give a whole bunch of credits. Comparatively, I can play one good match and make at least as many credits as one of these by itself. So unless I really need the cash, I'm just going to avoid that. Your squad. I don't have anybody in my squad right now, but this is where you go to add folks to your squad. You just hit that plus and then pull them out of the drop-down menu. They have to be a friend. Speaking of friends, your friend list, you can right-click on them, add them to your squad if you want. Chat, I've never used chat. I don't ever see anybody talking in it except for in-game. Before we move on too far, right here under the play button, here are your settings to get into the game and actually play. Select a fleet. Right now I've only got the recruit and veteran fleets unlocked. You're going to start out and you're not going to have anything but recruit fleet unlocked, so you're not going to have to worry about that. Next on the list is where it says any here. that is definitely your best setting. That means you'll get into Onslaught, Team Deathmatch, or Team Elimination, but not training matches. If you need a training match, you need to go into that menu and select training match to do some training against bots. Speaking of training, I've got to say they did a really good job on the tutorial. It taught me everything I needed to know about basic game mechanics. Just do it. It's not hard. It doesn't take that long, and is very valuable. We've got up here my free XP, and a button, the little plus beside it, lets me convert my earned XP in a single ship into free XP. And you can see I've got quite a bit of it over here. Then you've got your credits. You can also buy credits with GP. And then your GP. You can buy GP, and these are the denominations that it currently comes in. And becoming elite. Elite status gives you a bonus to what you rake in at the end of each mission. And it gives you not just 2 credits, but it also gives you a bonus to your XP. That's quite handy. I like to do the elite thing, but I usually wait until I know I've got a block of time that I can spend in-game to be able to activate it, because I don't want to waste my money, and I'm sure you don't want to waste yours either. So I'm going to get us into a match. We're currently selected in our recruit fleet, so the ships that you see below, and we're on any. So anything but a training match is possible after I hit that button. So you notice the first ship to warp in was my flagship, the ship that I had selected as my flagship. Today I'm worrying about more gameplay than anything, so I'm not going to show you all the cool cosmetic stuff that's out. If you want to check that out, check out my 1.6.0 update video. I go over a lot of that in that video. So when you're at this screen, you hit C, and it brings up your ship list. I want to go out in my Augusta, so I'm going to go out in my Augusta. Well, it seems as though it did not put me in my Augusta like I wanted, but I'll go ahead and show this to you anyway. We are currently in Onslaught mode, which is kind of a hybrid capture the flag-like thing. So you've got a command ship, the enemy's got a command ship, and you're trying to take out their command ship while protecting yours. So here we go. This is what an artillery cruiser does, and it's got a tool called Siege Mode that lets you fire slightly faster for a lot more damage. And if you're doing that, you want to put power to weapons. Keep an eye over on your right for your power usage. Some of the other... Oop, I have messed up. I have blocked off one of my friendlies. So situational awareness is a big thing, and so is keeping track of how much power is used, and you can see that on the blue bar to our right. You can hold the E button to bring up that radial menu I showed you. You've got power to weapons, power to movement, and power to shields. And if you just let it sit in the center, it goes nowhere. But that's really hard to do, so you can tap E if you selected something that you didn't want to, and reset it to none so that you can regen your power. So when you do die, it's going to bring you to this the screen here showing the readout of who did what damage and all that good stuff. So you want to hit the space bar to skip, and don't want to warp in just yet. Oh, okay, well, that works. When you get back to that screen, you want to hit the C key again, and you want to select the other ship you want to go out in if you want to go out into a different ship. Right now, I'm out in the Augusta that I wanted to come out in earlier, but something happened.
Target locked.
And this is our destroyer. So you're not maybe the front line of the battle, but you're definitely probably going to be the second in line into the battle. You're going to be dealing a lot of damage.
All silos launch missiles. Autoguns fired up. Missiles locked on target. All silos reloading, Captain.
We've been hit hard. Damage control teams dispatched.
Something else of note, you have 2 kinds of guns. So if you get really close, because your secondaries are always close-up kind of guns, you tap the Q key, and what it does is it swaps you to your secondaries. Your secondaries deal a lot more damage than your primaries, but they've got a lot less range. So here we are in that Tier 1 Dreadnought. This is actually my first time out in it. I was kind of grandfathered in on the Tier 2, and I did like the Tier 2, so this is probably going to be more of the same. And my job is to get out front and take some damage, protect my team, and deal some damage too. This is one of the medium Dreadnoughts, so it's going to be middle of the road on just about everything, which is why I think they chose it for a Tier 1 ship. So these are my primaries, and these are my secondaries. They fire a lot faster too. I got in there close, dealing a lot of damage, taking a lot of damage, distracting the enemy. Getting out before I die so that I can get healed by my healers. Unfortunately, I waited too long to jump out of there, and I was not able to get back to my healers, but that gives me an opportunity to show you what the healers are like. If you'd like to see some better gameplay of more of what you should do, not what you shouldn't do, which is kind of what I'm doing here just so I can show off all the ships. I'm letting myself get killed fairly quick. Go ahead and check out one of my other videos, and you'll see some better gameplay. Unfortunately, I seem to have spawned far away from all of my team, so I'm going to put power to my maneuvering thrusters so that I can get over to my team and help out a good bit. So we've got a Corvette here. One of those guys that I said like to eat folks like my tactical cruiser for lunch. Yeah. Not good times. So if you see one of those in your tactical cruiser like me, you definitely want to do something about it and do it fast.
Fusion reactor is overheating, putting energy system offline.
And that's what happens when you overtax your power system.
Aye, Captain. Amplifying.
So I'm in full-on healing mode.
Aye, Captain. Engaging. System
I've got a beam amp, power to weapons, and I'm launching other tools to help heal up my teammate. Granted, this is an NPC teammate, but yeah, you get the idea. And you can see he would probably already be dead if it weren't for my healing.
Aye, Captain. Activating. System drained.
Look at this. They're all trying to take me out because I'm doing something to protect protect their objective. Or our objective.
Multiple impacts detected.
Getting hit pretty good. And you heard that sound? That was the enemy Corvette coming in. That's just what their guns sound like. So let's show you a little bit of gameplay in a Dover. So a Corvette. Okay, so here I am out in the Dover. My job is to, if we're in a match that enemies need to be spotted, to spot said enemies, and to take out the support. These guys are ridiculously fast, and on my Dover I've got the thrust amp, I've got a heavy torpedo, disruptor pulse, and an afterburner. So I've got 2 movement related tools on my belt already that can kind of stack. Not everything stacks, but power to movement and thrust amplifier do stack. So I've gone ahead and kind of sneaked over here. Somebody ruining my plan over here.
Ready to launch. Pulse countermeasures, aye, Captain. Pulse generator recharging.
So by taking this guy out, I'm helping my team, like a lot, so that we don't lose our tactical cruisers.
Enemy command ship destroyed.
And I do a ridiculous amount of damage to tactical cruisers. He had his shields up and I still took him out.
Amplifiers depleted. Maneuvering thrusters at toast. Stand by for reprime.
Oh, and as a Corvette, you're kind of disposable. You've got very little in the way of hit points, even though you hit pretty hard. It's kind of another example of that glass cannon, but you're not a sniper, if that makes any sense. Well guys, I hope that gave you a good idea as to what Dreadnought is like. for a new person and a good direction to run in. I'm going to leave a link to my What is Dreadnought video down in the description so that you've got somewhere to go after this for the things that I've covered before. And I'll also leave a link to that 1.6 update so that you can see what's going on Dreadnought as of right now. I'll do my best to keep you guys up to date in what's going on, and I will see you in the next one.